So last week was insane. Truly, truly insane. Nothing, absolutely nothing went as planned. So for anyone new around here, one of my marketable skills is as a stage manager. Now, stage managing in theater is, for the most part, like contractual work. So it's not a show up and work a 9-to-5 type job. You attend meetings about the show you are stage managing, manage rehearsals, and then manage the show when it goes up until the end of its run. There's a lot of report writing and paperwork in addition to that, but all of that happens on your own time, sort of. I mean, like, if you conclude a rehearsal, the report needs to go out before the next rehearsal. Usually you want it to go out, before the next day, but it's nothing that obligates you to go to a certain office at a certain time and perform those functions there. Even though larger theaters, and I'm not working for a larger theater, sometimes provide those facilities. But anyway, the point being, this show that I was about to start was mostly tech-based, and so there were no, rehearsals with an actor. We were just going to go into tech rehearsals, which is the prep for the show, and then the show was going to open. Well, for a multitude of reasons, some of them COVID-related, the show got pushed back a week. So we were still doing meetings over Zoom, and otherwise, I had a whole extra week. And so with this extra week, I thought, let me go out, get away from the city, get some fresh air, and enjoy sort of a last week to really explore and be away before I'm kind of obligated to the show for a while. Such dreams I had when I initially set out to Southern California. So basically, I ended up at the far end of the Sequoia National Forest. So that night, my phone dinged with a winter storm warning. Good morning, guys. So I am sitting here waiting for the sun to come up. Actually, I'm getting enough of a gray sky. I may attempt to move now and trying to find greener pastures. Also, why the heck is there a winter storm warning in Southern California? Half the point of going to Southern California was to avoid winter storm warnings. And it's not whatever. So where I was parked, I was actually in a danger zone if there was any flooding or excess water or anything like that. So I wanted to get to higher ground. 2, because I knew that I had some obligations. I needed to get out in the morning and try to get on the other side of this winter storm. I didn't want to go any further south because I didn't really have that kind of time. I needed to make sure I wasn't going to get stuck too far out and not be able to make it back before the first day of tech. Given everything that was going on, I just went ahead and headed back north. And I already knew Camp Williams was a great spot in the Williams recreational area. I think I'm calling it the right name. I'd been there before. It was where my drone got stuck in a tree. And I was like, I'll just go there for the rest of the week. And I went ahead and I drove back north, fairly confident in my destination. There was reports of some rain, but nothing really serious. And nothing that gave me misgivings about where I was going. I was also going to be, above as opposed to below. So if there were like issues, I should have been in an area that I would have been able to escape from if we're just talking about a little bit of rain. Guess what? It snowed the first night I was there. It was just a dusting. It wasn't that bad. And honestly, by the middle of the next day, it had melted. And I had one beautiful day back in that area. And then the winds came. The rain wouldn't have been so bad if not for winds so strong that it actually blew open my cargo carrier on my roof overnight that night. And it ended up actually ruining a bunch of stuff I had stored up in my cargo carrier. That's also my fault for not securing it better or giving any extra security to it, but it's never been an issue. Literally, the thing always stays closed. And that wasn't the only bad thing that happened. The water that got in the cargo carrier, both of my tents died that night. So, given how severe everything had been, I rechecked the weather. I had been checking it. I downloaded a weather app to my phone, namely AccuWeather. I found out its location was actually a little bit off from where I was. Once I made that adjustment, and after making an assessment, I decided the smartest thing for me to do was to just go back into a safe zone in a city area. So, even if it rained a lot, I was basically on safe city streets. There was no risk of getting caught somewhere that was far out where not a lot of people were, or people couldn't really help me if I was in trouble. And as I was leaving, that's when my weird engine noise started. Friends, kind of need your help. I don't know if you can hear it, but this is what my engine sounds like right now. And I don't know what that is. I'm just worried. As you can hear, it's still making the noise. It is kind of raining cats and dogs out there. But I'm gonna go out and the car is driving, it's not driving, but that's obviously a noise I shouldn't ignore. I know a couple people have said look at the belts, but I don't honestly know what I'm looking at. Not really. I have a vague idea. Oh god dang it. So this is what it sounds like from outside of the van. And so basically, I'm not sure what's up with that noise. So since this incident, I have decided to make the videos that I made during the incident unlisted. I don't feel like they are a true representation of the kind of content I want on this channel. Not because something bad happened, but because it's not being presented in a way that's really digestible, which is why I'm making this video that's summarizing the incident. At the same time, as people have stated, there may be value in those videos. So if you're watching this video in the future after the incident happened, all the videos that I posted, there were, I think, 3 during the incident, which was asking for help, a live stream, and a check-in video after the event, are now listed in the description of this video, but they will no longer be listed on like the videos page when you go there, because they're disconnected incidents that don't really represent sort of the videos on this channel. They are more representative of probably like the early stage of this channel, which I'm not going to go back and delete videos like those, but I just feel like they're so disconnected. Unless you were present at the time it was happening, you know, you could have it come up in your recommended and think like I'm stranded right now, right this second when you're watching the video, and it could have happened a year ago, and it doesn't really have the context to really like hold together as a story when you're not experiencing the event as it happened, which is why I'm making this video, which tells the whole story and also allows you to access those videos, because even though they are unlisted, if the link is provided, you can still watch them. So they're in the video description, but I'm not leaving them up on the channel as like individual videos you can watch, because I don't feel like they provide value in that way. But moving on, once the weird engine noise started, I went to O'Reilly's for help. It was one of the suggestions was like, go to an auto parts store, AutoZone, O'Reilly's, whatever. And O'Reilly's was the closest one. So I went there, a guy came out, he listened to the noise, and then he convinced me to buy, some belt lubricant. And so we went in the store, I bought the lubricant, we came out, he put it on the belt, and the noise didn't stop. It did lessen for like 2 seconds, and then it, you know, just started back up again. And the guy basically shrugged. He was like, eh. And so we closed the trunk. I think something about that action, and the engine was still running, because he had me have the engine running because we wanted to see if the belt lubricant was working. So the key was in the car. And my phone was in the car. And the door was shut. Also because I didn't want Mickey, if Mickey is like surprised, I'm not sure what he's going to do. He might flee unexpectedly in that situation. So I didn't want to leave a gapped open door for him to like jump out of if he got startled or something like that, because if he hears a noise, sometimes he just reacts. And so like, just to be cautious, I didn't want the door just sitting open, because we were out in the front of the van for a while. And so once we closed the trunk, I went to open the door that I had not locked, and it was locked. And I didn't have a spare key in my pocket or anywhere outside the van, unfortunately. And so I couldn't call AAA from my phone because it was in the car. But luckily, the guy from O'Reilly's, as useless as he had been otherwise, did let me use his phone. Somebody from AAA eventually came. They did prioritize me because I told them I had an animal locked in the car, but it still seemed to take forever. And by the time they got there, I was literally soaked, because during this time, it was still storming. It was not gentle rain. It was not normal rain. It was storming. There were flood warnings all over the area that I was driving through. Like, that's how bad the rain was. It was not like this gentle rainfall, you know, where you can just have on a rain jacket and be fine. I was drenched. Like, I had to take off my shoes and let them dry out and put on a different pair of shoes. Like, that's how much it was raining during all these events. So once I got back in the vehicle, it was pretty late at that point. So I just searched for a truck stop or rest stop, still moving towards the direction that I wanted to go, even though the vehicle was still making noise. I decided, like, first thing in the morning, I would find the closest mechanic I could find. I did end up, because I was in Soledad at that point, I did end up driving from Soledad to Salinas to stay at a pilot travel center that I'd stayed at before. And there was a mechanic who had really good reviews, like 4 minutes away. Now, I do know a mechanic in Salinas, but I did not want to disturb him at 8 o'clock in the morning if there was a mechanic like 4 minutes away, because I would be disturbing him in his house in his personal time. And I just didn't feel good about that. Whereas if somebody's already awake at a shop, and they can just give me an assessment right away, that's what I was after. So basically, I went to Doug Hampton's Automotive in Salinas. I explained my situation to the mechanic there. There were actually 2 or 3 mechanics working there at that point. And he was like, just pull it into the shop. I'll take a look at it. So I pulled it in. You know, we popped the hood. He looked at it. His other guy looked at it. He says, I really think it's just moisture on the belt from all the rain we've had. And it never made that noise before. And I'd been in rain before, just not that much rain. Like, the sky wasn't literally falling. So I had misgivings, but these guys are the experts. They sent me on my way. They told me I was totally safe to drive the rest of the way. So I did. I got back in the vehicle and I drove the rest of the way. I basically got run away from 2 different campsites due to weather. And that's just a thing that happens. If I'd been in a better situation and didn't have obligations bringing me back north, I could have kept going south. And, you know, there's just been a lot of storms, honestly, in the area. And if I was in a position to be trapped for a while, I could have honestly stayed where I was. I mean, my tents were destroyed, but it's not the end of the world. It really sucks because I didn't even get to use the big tent that much. I'm not that fussed about the shower tent. You know, it was something I already had that I used as a dressing room in college for like a short film we were shooting in college. I was a film minor in school. And then it was just in a storage unit for the longest time. And then because I started Vanlife, I just pulled it out and added it to my arsenal as a shower tent. And so I had the shower tent, I had the 6-person tent, just as sort of an extra space I could have when I was parked at a campsite. And now they're both gone, and I don't have either one. So yeah, I don't even know what to say about that. They're gone. I'm back in a city-ish setting. I did need a change of scenery, so I'm not back in Berkeley. I am in the Bay Area. I'm just not back in Berkeley. I'm also not far from Berkeley. I have a Zoom meeting coming up actually tomorrow, and then we'll be starting our tech rehearsal soon, and then I'll be in a run for a show. So I'll be, you know, in the Oakland area because that's where the show is happening. I don't know why I'm playing with these scissors right now, except they're near my hand. And recounting this story is stressful. So it's like I need to be fiddling with something in my hand, and it's been going on off camera all this time. So that is the full picture of my horrible last week, which some people got a glance of while it was happening because I was posting those rather random videos where I was like, I don't know what's going on. Why is my engine making a noise? I'm locked out of my van. All the stuff. And whenever bad things happen in van life, I feel like I need to put on the disclaimer that because bad things happen doesn't mean van life sucks. I mean, like, that's the correlation people made because I had a bad day or some bad stuff happen. Van life sucks. Life sucks sometimes. Life is great sometimes. And that's in a house or a van. The reason to be in van life is you Not because it's perfect all the time or because nothing ever goes wrong. It's because you want the advantages of van life more than you care about the disadvantages of van life. If that makes any sense. Like, that's the reason to want it. If you're like, I'm so motivated to do this, I could do it in a car, you're probably the right person for van life, because if you can afford that fancy vehicle despite that mindset, or if you eventually get to that fancy vehicle, you're going to appreciate it so much more, because you don't expect it to be perfect, and you don't expect things to never ever go wrong. Things go wrong. Sometimes things aren't great, but that's called life. Like, it's going to have its some imperfect moments. It's going to have its perfect moments. You can move to a city thinking like, this is my dream city. This is awesome. And you could be right and absolutely adore it, except for that 10% of the time it's getting on your nerves. Or you could absolutely hate it and realize where you were was a better match for the type of person you are. And that's while living, normal sticks and bricks life. I don't believe there's any lifestyle that is inherently perfect and without some flaws or some issues or life just happening. So this past week, life happened. And one of the reasons I'm leaving up this video and getting rid of the other ones is this video allows me to bring that context into it. It's not just me. I think people misunderstood when I said I was going to delete those videos. I'm going to delete those videos because I don't feel like they're a true representation of the channel. There is this frantic person in the moment, and that doesn't give the context of the whole story. And that's why I don't like doing videos like that. It's not because I don't want to show real life or real van life or the bad side of van life and only show the glamorous side. I've shown plenty of not glamorous sides of van life, but when you can't give it context, it's just this frantic moment that looks bad. And it's bad in the moment, but it's not bad for the whole picture. It's just a part of it. It's like me handing you a puzzle piece from like an 1,000-piece puzzle, and you thinking like everything about that puzzle is that one little piece of a puzzle piece that you saw. All right, that's my spiel. That's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one.
So, when you look back on something, you realize it was kind of an adventure, and that was sort of my goal, was to have an adventure. Now, adventure didn't quite go down the way I wanted it to go down, but adventure happened, and it happened because I'm living this crazy, unusual life. But anyway, that is not what Editing Dawn is ever here for. Editing Dawn is here to remind you of a few things right below this video. One, that subscribe button, if you're interested in seeing more of my face and hearing more of my stories. Number two, the like and dislike button. You can hit either one, whichever one you feel is deserving. And the comment section, so you can let me know how you felt about this video. All of that helps me out with the YouTube algorithm.